One of the other jobs I wanted to do was to take the propeller off so that I can start to fit the new 3-bladed one. And you might notice here there's some pink discoloration on this propeller. We'll come back to that in a bit. To remove the propeller, what you need to do is undo the nut that's in the middle, and there's a small tab holding that down. Bend the tab back, undo the first nut, and then undo the second nut that's hiding behind that one. Then the propeller hub will slide off. On this prop shaft. Depending on if your boat has a rope cutter or the anode layout here, you may have one or possibly more spacers. The spacers must be there so the prop tightens down correctly and doesn't hit any part of the leg. Next to the brass nut. Which we are going to put a bit of thread locker on actually. Good reminder to do that there. Right, torque wrench, 70 Newton meters I think it is. I will go and double check. Okay, I'll just show you where I'm up to. I'm a little bit concerned by this, to be perfectly honest, because the gap is bigger. The gap's quite big on this one. So I've got both spacers. I've got the original spacer because of the anode and not having a rope cutter, and then there's another spacer that came with this prop that's also gone in there. If I don't put that in, then there's movement this way in the propeller, which obviously you do not want. So with that in, then it sits perfectly right on the thing, but that just, I don't know, it's just, that's different. Wasn't that wide before. So I'm going to torque it up and see what happens. So the nut's in there now. I've got this arrangement so that I can torque it up, and I'll give that a try now. Ooh. Oh yeah, wrong way. That's no way, is it? Right, hang on, just keep that. Okay. There you go, that's that torqued. Right, I'm going to give that a bit of a pull. I mean, that is solid as a bloody rock, that is. Yeah, it must be right. Okay. There's absolutely no movement in any of that. Oh. Okay, that's how it is. A little bit that way, but that's obviously just gearing. Nothing this way. It turned out that the Technoseal anode that I'd purchased was slightly smaller than the standard anodes that I fitted in the past. I went to have a look at another boat and their anode was slightly longer than mine, which would account for the slightly larger gap that I saw when fitting the propeller. So the nut goes in this way. This must be replaced if you ever take the prop off. So that has to sit on top of the nut like so. Let's just spin it around so it doesn't fall off. And then we'll put some thread locker on here. Now this doesn't tighten very tight, this one. Just need to double check. I think this is only 20. So I've got a second torque wrench for that. Yeah, 20 Newton meters on the middle one. That's the second torque wrench up. That's it. That's all that is. It's not a lot. Right, now what we need to do is bend the pins over so that the prop doesn't come off. So this one's going to be particularly tricky. Let's go in. Okay, blade number one. blade number 2. Yeah. Okay, that's right. Okay, so there we go. So now what we need to do is we need to put the bolts in to secure everything. We need to grease the middle. So I'm just going to check everything first because I've never fitted a prop before, so I'm just a little bit reluctant in doing that step, but it's on there, it feels solid, so I think I've done everything okay, and I've matched all my blades. So you have to match these because they're weighted. So there's blade number 1, then you put in blade number 2, blade number 3. Wouldn't really match if you put them in any other way. The pitch and the way that the blade would be turning would still be the same, but they wouldn't be weighted, so they should be perfectly weighted in that order. I mean, you know, that was weighted at the factory, so. But yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. And then now that the pins are in, you grease everything up, and then you secure the pins in, 10 Newton meters on each one of these, and that is it. It should not come off. Fingers crossed. So exactly the same again, now a bit of thread locker on these bolts. And then we need to torque them up to 10 Newton meters. And that is everything done. I've just greased the centre, which I'll show you in a sec. Again, just a little bit of thread locker on the bolt. Pop the bolt in. Okay, this is on 10, so this isn't a lot of tension at all. Let's give this a little. There we go. Next one. Okay. And that is it. Okay, you can see the middle's all been greased, and it's really light now.